Board cooks.
20 open.
Yeah, this bottle was given to me by my dude, Mr. Ken, one of my mom's friends. And then my mom asked me, like, right after, like, hey, did you drink that bottle? I was like, do you understand, like, what it means to arm wrestle the fucking Kraken?
God, it reminds me of your bachelor party every time.
Dude, it's so harsh,
It's
man.
so horrible.
The Kraken black spiced rum, dude.
Oh my god.
I call it arm wrestling the Kraken, man. It's
Dude, it's so bad, but I don't know why I like it so much. Like, oh, this is fucking horrible.
dude, it's
Let
so
me
bad.
drink it again. Dude, the last time I had this with you was when we were at your bachelor party. And, like, we were dressed like pirates,
Yeah.
golfing. We went to the strip club dressed like pirates. I just remember walking up, setting my hat and sword down on the counter. It was like, we be here for the booty.
Yeah, that was such a great time.
Oh, my God.
They're like, are you guys pirates? Like, yeah, we got 2 pirates, a banana, 2 Santa Clauses.
Oh, man. Well, what was it? Our swords got so much syphilis on them. It was ridiculous. And, like,
Oh,
our
they got taken
toy-
by one of the strippers. And then next thing you know, 2 strippers were on stage, like, banging each other with the swords. And they're like, you guys want these back? Like, no. Nope, they're yours now. You took those.
I remember my brother just like, what the fuck did I just walk up to?
Because he was only, like, what, 18 at the time?
Yeah, he was our DD.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh.
It was like a second time in a strip club. God, that shit's horrible, man.
I remember getting a phone call from the tattoo parlor, like,
Yeah.
come get this fucking banana out of my shop.
His
like-
Needle Masters was, like, right next door.
Yeah, they're like, come get this fucking banana. I'm like, wait, why is my banana in your shop right now?
Yeah, dude,
know.
he disappeared. He was covered in all kinds of signatures, phone numbers, some pretty raunchy ass shit written on him.
Dude, the best part is nobody saw his ugly ass.
No, he was covered up the whole time, dude. You just saw it had like that weird ass like smiley face on the
Yeah.
front of it. You couldn't actually see who was in there.
Yeah, we had to cut it out. We didn't even use scissors to cut the netting out of the mouth out.
So he could smoke?
we
Yeah.
took a knife.
Like hold still, dude.
Yeah, I think my golf cart, my golf bag had like 4 golf clubs in it. The rest was filled with beer and the Kraken.
Yeah, I had a couple bottles of Jameson. I had a case of Budweiser. We went to a really nice golf course in Michigan, dressed this way, as 2 pirates, a banana, 2 Santa Clauses. And then there was a couple of us that didn't get the memo on the costumes, and actually came in like
Because
nice,
there
like
was no memo.
like
We just-
slacks and like a sweater vest. Like my brother-in-law was like, "Are we golfing?" We
Dude,
drove around commandeering people's golf carts dressed as pirates. We didn't even make it through the, I think, 8th hole before we were kicked out.
Yep. Yeah, because the dressing up part wasn't like until like 20 minutes before we decided to go.
Right?
We're like, hey, let's dress up. Like what? Pirates. You're the captain.
We were at the mall, I think. We were at the mall and came up with it.
Yeah.
Like, let's just do pirates. Like, fuck it. And then we showed up to the meeting spot, which was your house,
Yep.
dressed as pirates, like full-on pirates.
Yep.
And then everyone was like, oh, what the fuck? So then Garth left and came back with 2 Santa Claus costumes, and Bama came back with a banana costume.
And it was like the middle of like May.
Yeah, and Garth's 6'4", and Brandon wore the other Santa Claus costume, and he's 5'5". So his like Santa jacket looks like a fucking Matrix trench coat. Like, it's so long, it was dragging on the ground.
Oh man, you were like trying to convince one of the strippers that Matt was like a Navy SEAL, and the girl's like, "I know him."
Right?
And you're like,
yeah, they
"Oh,
went to
well."
high school together.
Yeah, you were like, "Oh, that's dumb."
So my lie's not working right now? All right, I'm out.
Oh man.
Yeah, my wife running the camera right now about beat my ass because Bama just left that banana suit on my front porch. And she's like, what the fuck is this? I'll gladly suck your banana anytime with a phone number. Heart Mercedes. I'm like, it's probably a fake number. She's like, ah!
I got a phone call at like 7:30 in the morning, and she's like cussing me out. I'm like, well, hold on, Leah. First off, it's 7:30 in the morning, and I just went to bed 10 minutes ago. So, let's pump the brakes here. She's like, what the fuck is this banana suit? And I was like, what banana suit? The one Ben wore. I was like, Ben's a goddamn pirate. Weren't you still in bed dressed as a pirate?
Yeah.
Like, you passed out as a pirate.
Yeah, dude, I was totally still dressed as a pirate.
Like,
And I somehow got my sword back. I blacked out at the strip club. I don't remember much. Like, about halfway through the strip club, I don't remember shit.
oh, dude, my sword disappeared. Like, I don't know where it went.
I threw mine away.
I had no
because
idea.
I remembered
mine
where
went.
that thing had been.
Yeah, no, I think the last time I saw mine was like some bouncer was slapping some stripper with it and telling her to cut her shit out. And I was like, because he like looked at me, he was like, hey, can I borrow that? And I'm like, borrow what? And he like pointed at my sword, and I thought he was pointing at my ding ding. And I'm like, no, that's kind of attached to me, bro. And he's
Right.
like, no, your sword. I'm like, yeah, my ding ding. He's like, no, your toy sword. Oh, that. Yeah, go ahead. And I thought he was like gonna do some pirate things, like, arr. No, he just fucking full on mollywops the stripper with it, and he just like cut the shit. And he's like, here, you could have it back now. I'm like,
I
no,
couldn't believe they let us walk in there with them.
Oh, I couldn't either.
That was a crazy thing. I went to go hand it in at the counter when we got there.
Dude, could you just imagine their faces though? Like when we showed up, just like,
Well, yeah, I
what
was
the
there. I remember what their faces looked like.
what the fuck to just walked in here.
It's probably the best night they had in that place ever.
Oh yeah. The golf course owner. I have reports of the banana being thrown out of the golf cart. All I can think about
We
is
threw him down a
Mario.
hill.
All I can think about is like Mario Kart, like.
That's got to be what it looked like. People were actually trying to play through. And they're like, God fucking damn it. Like, they weren't even laughing. Like, they weren't having a good time with it. They're just like, get the fuck out of the fairway. Fucking banana. Get out of the goddamn fairway.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Entertaining over there. Memories coming back. So
All I
what
remember
was
is
this
the
you were
banana
talking?
costume.
What's that?
All I remember is the banana costume because obviously I wasn't there for any of that.
Right. Yeah, I was really drunk.
Dude, you
Yeah.
went in for a lap dance and came out with more money than you went
Yeah,
in
I don't
with.
remember that.
I don't
lap
know
dance.
how.
I remember going in there. I don't remember what happened back there, but I do remember coming out with a handful of money.
Yeah, and like
Like a lot more money than I went in with.
and the stripper was arguing and that was your money. We're like, no, it's your money because we gave him just enough money for one dance, and we know how you guys hustle, so we were prepared to come commandeer him if need be, but somehow he's coming out with way more money than we
Yeah,
sent
I had
him in.
so much money when I came out of there.
Yeah, and then you're like, let's buy more beer.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. I still to this day have no memory of how that happened.
Whatever, man. Stripper paid you. Apparently,
Yeah,
you're
dude, I'm
good
that
at-
I'm that
you
good.
were that good at receiving the lap dance
Yeah.
that she was like, well, you're such a great guy for receiving this lap dance. You probably, knowing you probably were in there doing some fucking psychiatrist shit and listening to her talk about her
I
feelings.
probably.
And she just paid you instead of going to her psychiatrist.
Yeah, I just started making shit up that I read on Wikipedia at
You're
some
like
point.
Googling
Like,
shit at the same time. Like,
right? Like I just solved all of her life problems by
Right.
telling her to shut up.
Or
You go to-
something completely different happened because he blacked out and nobody really knows and
maybe,
didn't have anything
yeah.
to do with talking.
Maybe it was reverse and he was a hooker for like a brief.
Yeah, maybe
3
I gave her a
minutes.
lap dance.
Yeah. But who knows? Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? Fucking mysteries, man. Bum,
Yep.
bum, bum. Gonna have to build a time machine.
Yep. That's the only logical outcome here.
Yeah, dude.
And now for the awkward segue into the.
Well, I'm curious. You were mentioning something about space fucking earlier.
Oh, dude. All right. So, me and my boy Zach at work today, we were talking about, like, we were watching some show about space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh, on the space station, the astronauts, they went on strike because they were working them too hard. So like,
How do you go on strike?
they just
on
shut the
spa-
communications off with NASA.
They're like, we've had enough of your shit. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Off.
done.
They
That's
just hit it.
awesome.
Yeah,
It's
NASA.
not like you're gonna get them down.
No, that's what I was like. Come up here and fire me. Spend that $6.2 billion to come get my ass off this space
That
station.
is awesome.
So yeah, so we were watching this thing. They were like, yeah, they were working them too hard, and the guys weren't getting enough rest or free time. So these dudes were like, fuck NASA, shut this shit off, shut all community. There was none. They talked to nobody for 24 hours, and just chilled, did whatever, right? And then like when they're like, okay, we're about to get our asses ripped, they're like about to hit the switch to turn it back on. They're like, all right, you guys ready? And all the guys agreed. They're like, yeah, we're cool, do it, hit it. NASA's like, we're sorry. You're right. you guys are work too hard. We'll read. So we're like, what the shit? Like, that's all it took. They just fucking straight up like, nope, off switch. So
Well, yeah, NASA probably realized they have nothing.
yeah,
They have nothing to
yeah.
combat
What are they gonna do? Like, we can't go get them.
Right.
So we're like, dude, it's got to be a pain in the ass to like sleep. We're like, how the fuck do they sleep? Because you can't lay in a bed. You're in zero gravity.
Right.
You know?
It's actually the ones that they just the
Well, they put 'em-
astronauts that they just sent out and everything. They actually did this huge series
Yeah, yeah.
about how they
Yeah,
I had to
actually do
Google it.
things in it. It's really cool.
I had to
What
Google-
was that guy's name that did all those? He did a bunch of videos of him like doing weird stuff like
Yeah.
in space.
I can't remember, but I remember him being awesome.
But they like, yeah. So like, I had to Google it. They have like little sleeping bags or whatever, and they just strap themselves to something
Yeah.
like a wall, so they're just not like floating while they're sleeping and just
Right.
bump into something, right? And I was like, dude, so they just like strap up. Like, you gotta admit, I bet it's hard as hell to fall asleep, guarantee it. But I bet when you do sleep, it's a great sleep because you have like no pressure points, no nothing.
Right.
So, but you're just drifting. You're just like, do. So then I was like, dude, I wonder what banging in space would be like. Just zero gravity banging. Like,
You think anyone's ever done it?
oh, I guarantee some Russian chick.
It was Chris Hadfield.
Yeah, Chris Hadfield was he the one that was doing like the
He did the Space Oddity cover, and he was the one who was doing.
he did all the experiments and all that he put.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in Trailer Park Boys.
Yes.
Chris Hadfield.
But anyway, let's get back to the banging in space because that's a
Yeah.
funny concept.
Think about it. Think about it.
I'm not saying Chris Hadfield is the one banging in space. I don't know that. Although it'd be awesome.
Like, there's
Kudos
probably
to you,
so
Chris,
much.
if you are.
There's probably like so much chasing. Like, yeah, get back here. Get back
Right?
here. Get back
Right.
here.
Maybe Velcro is involved.
Ooh.
Not like
You just Velcro each other?
No, you like Velcro at least one person to the wall, maybe. I don't
That-
know.
I bet it'd be
that's
great.
that's
No, I'd
borderline
be
crazy.
sitting up there floating, and I would have her in like in a missionary style, and then I would just let her go, and then like grab her feet and just be like, woo, right back in, and then let her go, let her
Get back
float
here.
away,
Get back here. Get back here.
and then just grab her feet and pull her right back in.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Dude, I'd be like spinning her around. It'd be so much fun.
It's just that's. I bet we can convince NASA scientific experiment.
Oh, I'm sure they've done it.
Like, just
sure
let's see
they've
what
done
happens.
I don't. They probably haven't.
They had to have. They've done a lot of weird experiments. They had to have done it. I'm about to look it up. I'm about to look up
I'm about to Google
having
it.
sex in space. Okay, you Google it. You Google it. You let me know what's up.
Just
Matter of
They're
fact, I'm sitting with this laptop in front of me. I might as well make some use of
do you
it.
think they like what people? How many people do you think were like, "Ooh, I'll do it"? Like
Right.
when they were like, "All right, so this is what we're coming up with, guys. Here's the plan." And, like everybody in the office is like, "Said Sandra's going, right? I'm down." No, dude. Rock paper scissors. Just a big, massive NASA tournament of rock paper scissors.
See who gets to bang the one chick in space.
So, yeah.
Can I just say the first article that popped up after Googling having sex in space is 9 reasons why having sex in space would be gross.
Well, don't read that article
Don't read
because
that. That's
they're
dumb.
obviously a downer.
Yeah, they're obviously
Screw that person.
yeah.
They're just mad because they're not the ones in space banging.
right.
Right?
Think about it though.
It's always the person not getting any that's trying to keep everybody else from getting any.
Think about like a money shot in space. And she's just like, ah!
Oh my god, everybody would get it. You have to be in like an enclosed
She'd
room.
be like, ah! And they'd be
It's
like,
just like-
you could have dodged it.
Like, how many people are on one space station?
Like you watched it come at you. Move.
How many people are in one space station, like in the vicinity that could be floating around for another week? It's still up there floating.
You're just like,
You just
"Huh?"
come out and you're like, what the fuck is? Oh god damn it!
Carl. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Sorry, I'm now just very hardcore Googling the prospect of
No, you're
having
fine. Let
sex
me know
in
what you find.
Just look out. Oh man, I guarantee it. You're up there for how long?
But that's all fake news because the Earth is flat anyway, so
Yeah.
gravity's not real.
It's
The
not.
Earth isn't flat because if it was,
The
all
Earth is
cats,
flat. Gravity's not real.
The cats would have knocked everything off of it by now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Fucking cats.
Good point. Good point.
Fucking cats. I'm
That is probably the best argument for a round Earth I've ever. No, not gravity, not observation,
Not
not
anything
not the
actually
millions
logical.
of pictures that have come back from space stations,
Just
but the
cats
fact
are
that the cats haven't knocked everything off. That is the
Cats
best
are
argument.
I
That is
love,
the absolute
I
best
love
argument.
just little stupid things like that. Just like cats haven't knocked things off, so what's up?
I do troll people on Facebook like when I'm bored and like
Oh, I know.
and but that's one of the things I will totally act like a flat earther. And it's like, nope, the Earth's flat. And every time they post like, oh, this picture, I'll have like 6 people attacking me, and they're all like, well, this picture. I'm like, nah, it's a fake picture. That's straight CGI.
Fake news.
And like, you just haven't reached the ice wall yet. It's really far, man. And like, well, the Earth is this. You know, why isn't anybody? I'm like, you know how big the Earth is, man. It's pretty. It's like a huge plate. It's like it ain't like a dinner plate in your house, man. Like it's like a family-sized like platter, dude. It's huge. All right, get your goddamn rowboat. You go find it. I ain't going to find it.
I'm too lazy. Oh man.
I just see how long I can get them to go till they realize like I'm totally full of shit.
Have no idea what you're talking about.
Right, like I'm making it all up.
Okay, so
I think that's what most of the flat Earth is. I think it's just all trolls.
Probably.
So, according to NASA, sex in space has not officially happened because of, weird, quote unquote, because of, like dynamics between people in space together for long periods of time. However, there have been some computer simulations to obtain the best 10 or the best like 10 positions for space sex, whereas 22 positions were tested by computer. And 2 guinea pigs then tested them in real zero gravity conditions.
All the different positions.
The results
How
were
do you
videotaped, but
like it
are
was guinea pig
considered
doggy style, guinea pig missionary,
You know,
guinea
do
pig
you-
reverse cowgirl.
but the results were considered so sensitive that even NASA was only given a censored version. And most of them required mechanical assistance.
That was some
Yeah,
raunchy
because
ass
they're
guinea
guinea
pigs.
pigs.
No,
Like-
not even guinea
Well-
pigs.
well-
This is just talking about the computer simulated 22 positions.
Well, I think
Because it's a
it's because
computer.
once you're in space, there's no law up there, so you can have guinea pigs banging all day and you can
But,
watch it.
but it's computer. You're convincing a computer to do something when like
I'm still on the guinea pigs.
I get that. But like you're like, all right, we're gonna computer generate sexual positions. You don't come up with that stuff until like midway through. You're like, you know what?
Dude, it's a bunch of scientists. What do
Let
they
me-
know about sex positions?
Let me get a banana.
Hold on, there's one more thing that I just read that just made me chuckle. Only 4 positions were found possible without mechanical assistance. The other 6 needed a special elastic belt and an inflatable tunnel, like kind of like an open-ended sleeping bag.
What would
So
you
like
need a tunnel
a
for?
hamster
don't
tunnel?
What would you have needed a tunnel for?
I don't know. It doesn't say, but it just says a special elastic belt and inflatable tunnel. I mean,
For like capturing your partner.
I mean, you asked me to Google it, so I just Googled it.
We need more information than that.
But it was so sensitive.
What
that
is the tunnel for?
What do you do with the band?
Is the tunnel for velcroing yourself to the wall so you don't go anywhere?
What do you?
Hey, that was my idea.
Oh,
That's
it's
copyrighted.
probably the tunnel is probably to keep you inside together,
Yeah.
so you're not like drifting apart while you're trying to like.
Is it that hard? Like if somebody is weightless to keep them on you? I mean, you can just
Yeah.
grab them.
Yeah, you're
Thrust
that.
them
You
on.
can't you can't thrust either. Like
There's no
you're-
gravity. There's
Yeah,
no
you have
gravity,
to be-
so you can't.
No. You have
No,
to be leaning against
Yeah,
something,
you can't just.
or else you're not going to be able to get any. As soon as you move back, your entire body's going to move back.
Yeah, you're gonna have.
You
No,
have to be propped up against something like an inflatable tunnel, I guess.
the elastic
I mean,
band.
I'm thinking about the mechanics.
Wow.
It makes sense. Have you ever watched the space experiment videos? Like with the
I mean,
the
just
hair.
a couple of them, yeah. But I mean,
Yeah.
A tunnel.
banging the one lady in the
Who-
space station.
They're like, all right,
Thank you.
find all the NASA virgins. Put 'em
Who's
all
the
in
guy
there.
that gets to be on that one? Like you spend all your time getting through like, Harvard or Princeton, whatever school you went to like learn all about astrophysics, and I'm gonna go work for NASA. All right, you're on the sex missions. Like
Who
what?
wouldn't want to do that?
The guy that went to Harvard and all that other stuff for all this. There's somebody like us that's like, where do I sign the application at?
Right?
Like,
You
No,
know,
no,
there's
you're not the
some
one that gets to do
ridiculously
them.
nerdy
You're the one
guy.
that gets to sit down here and watch them do it and record everything
so where do I apply?
and
You
make
know, there's that
inventions
one
on how to
really
make it
smart,
easier.
nerdy dude that's just like, yeah, you know what? I think that has a lot of scientific merit. I would really, really enjoy studying that, just in case we have to do some long-term space travel later in life and we can't figure out gravity later. You know?
Is there no gravity at all in the space station? Like, don't they have an
No.
artificial gravity?
No.
Okay.
I don't
You're
think.
just floating the whole time.
I don't think you can recreate gravity though.
No, you can't.
like,
I
in
wasn't
something
sure.
like that. I
It's
don't
hard to
think it's-
it's hard to remember what's real and what's Star Wars,
can-
man. We're getting so crazy with technology lately.
What are these
Like-
Jedi mind tricks?
Right? That dude is so funny.
Dude, just think about it though. Space fucking.
Space fucking.
You know what? Columbus
What I think's funnier than space
Columbus sailed the ocean blues. I'm going to space. I'm gonna be a new pioneer.
You're gonna fuck in space.
New pioneer. What?
We'll get a hold of Elon Musk. He's the one he just shot his goddamn car into space. So
What do you think? Like, so like on an airplane, it's the Mile High Club.
Space Club.
Would it be Space Club?
That'd be the new Space Club. Yeah, it's no longer for like adolescent kids like to go learn about being astronauts. Space
Oh, God.
Space Club is now, or Star Club,
No, that sounds silly.
Meteor Shower Club.
Shooting star.
Shooting Star. You want a piece of my shooting star?
That sounds really creepy.
Dude, I bet it'd be like some romantic as shit though. Like you're making sweet, tender love, and you look out, and there's just this beautiful view of the planet, and then a Russian guy, and then just
Better yet, some dead Russian guy that didn't make it to the moon. He's just
oh
Oh,
man.
that'd be terrifying.
like, did he go by again? Yeah, he's totally in orbit around the space station.
Just like look at that view.
That's
honey.
Sergey.
Look at that view on here. That's so that my luck though. See, my luck would be like that. I would be getting down to my hibbity dibbity moves, and that would be the time like we knock loose an air hose,
Shit.
and we're all gonna die. Like, yep, that's my luck.
I mean, at least
Well, I mean,
you're
you wouldn't be
going
able to
down
be
doing something you
airtight.
like.
You wouldn't be able to be airtight anyway with your dong sticking out of the spacesuit.
No way, dude. No, I wouldn't have that problem.
They don't wear spacesuits inside of the space station.
Well, we're talking about being outside of the space station. That's real space fucking. Being outside of the space station.
Jesus, your dinger would freeze off, man.
I can tell you live with a 5-year-old.
It would just freeze. Like, oh, frost my dick off. Sub-Zero took that one from me.
What if you took 2 spacesuits and made them into one big spacesuit?
That's
Like
what the tube's for.
That's what the inflatable tunnel's
Isn't that
for.
all a space station is?
That is what we have figured out what the tunnel is for. Not spacewalking. Space fucking.
Space fucking. Space fucking.
Could you imagine like some dude in the Hubble like some kid is just looking through a telescope like, look, mommy, the stars, and there's just like 2 astronauts just God. Mommy, I think I saw some aliens procreating. That would be the time like some aliens would come to do like some research and be like, oh no, this planet's fucked.
Right. This is what they're doing. They're fucking in space. Oh man, just goddamn monkeys, dude. That's all any of us
That's
are.
what
Just
we-
fucking monkeys, dude.
they're just like, really? After all the technology, this is what they
Right.
use it for?
We're monkeys that wear clothes and shoot guns. That's that's it, dude.
Oh man.
Yeah, we shouldn't be allowed to have half the technology that
No,
we have.
hell no. We need some dumb shit.
We need a higher power like alien species to just come down and just rule over
Just
us.
take us over.
Yeah, please do.
Well, that's like Chelsea got the new this new iPhone, and so she picks it up and she's like, "It unlocks when it sees my face." I'm like, "That is weird. That
That's
is
yeah,
weird."
that's some NSA shit.
I know. I was like,
I can't believe you have that Alexa shit in your house. That shit would
"Bro,
not be
I
in my
am
house.
some dude from Toledo, Ohio."
It doesn't matter. I don't trust that shit.
Like, look, I'm telling you, if they're listening to me, it's for the pure comedy. That
Well,
goes
when
on
you're
in my house.
when you and your lady are going to town in the bedroom, and all of a sudden Alexa turns on, you don't realize, and some Edward Snowden dude is just recording you going to town. Maybe that's how you'll get selected into the space fucking program.
Exactly. No, I'm just saying, like, the weird conversations we have. Like, I'm sitting there like, so, do you want to have tacos or pizza for dinner? And then we're like, Grace, you want to have tacos or pizza? And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, ah. And then Chelsea's like, ah. And then I hear, Daddy. And I'm like, ah. Yeah, that's generally everything that happens at my house. And then every once in a while, I'm like, shut up and try to watch Dragon Ball Z. Goku's about to kick the shit out of somebody.
I feel like the NSA would have a lot more to listen to in like this house than their house.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty conspiracy minded. How do you want to do this transition? And just keep the audio rolling, and then
I wouldn't. No, we'll just stop and then
just
restart.
kick
again.
it right back in.
Yeah, see if we can.
Just go for it now.
So
Do what? Just do it now.
Yeah, you might as well.
You want to stop it, and then
Yeah,
we'll
sure.
restart it here in a second.
Okay.
All right. 1, 2.
So I guess we'll be back in a minute.
Right. You won't even notice.
Maybe.
All right. Alrighty. I mean, I'm rolling over here.
It looks like we can just keep doing that.
We can just keep doing it. All right. We're slowly figuring this out, folks. So,
Hey.
we don't really know what we're doing. We look halfway maybe professional. Do we look sort of professional doing this?
Not even close.
No, we're just making it up.
We
as
just
go
got done
along.
talking about space fucking, bro.
Right?
But at least
Well, that's
we
fine.
figured out
I mean,
why
we're
we
starting
can
to
only
get the
record.
studio looking decent. I got a nice black curtain here. Hopefully, it's not messing up the lighting too badly. We
no,
have
it's making Deadpool look pretty bright as fuck, though.
This is Dirt Pool. He's not Deadpool. He's Dirt
it's
Pool.
Dirt Pool. Okay.
Yep. Rocking his dirty headband.
What's crazy is you cut my head off and you put it down on your table, and then my head grew back on my body. So
Oh,
I have
is
two
that-
heads.
Oh, is that how that works?
Yeah, dude.
I'm pretty sure Deadpool avoided doing that in one comic.
Yeah.
Where he got decapitated. He's like, you gotta be back in my body before there's two of me running around. Nobody wants that. And then they threw his head back to his body, and his body caught it and stuck it on. It was like,
Yeah.
it was over like 4 frames, and then he came back, and then he killed like a bunch of people.
That's what he does.
That's about
Yeah.
right.
I think it was the same comic that he trick fucked Daredevil.
He does that a lot.
Yeah, where
I love his comics.
yeah, like Daredevil shoots him in the leg, and he's like, "Oh God, you shot me!" And Daredevil's like, "Well, there's a hospital like 2 blocks away."
No, Deadpool did that to Daredevil.
Well, no, Daredevil kicked the shit out of Deadpool or broke his legs or something. He broke his legs, and then he goes, "Oh my God," whatever. And Daredevil goes, "Oh, there's a hospital 2 blocks away." And then Deadpool goes, well, "How far away was that?" And he goes, "How far away was that hospital?" And Daredevil says, "About 2 blocks away." And then Deadpool shoots a civilian.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And then so Daredevil has to save the civilian while Deadpool runs away.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Something along those lines. But that's not Deadpool, that's Dirtpool.
Yeah, that's Dirtpool. Oh.
So, speaking of Dirtpool, thank our sponsor, Dirty PB. Check them out at facebook.com/DirtyPB. So now that we are, now that we got that out of the way. Oh, with what we're probably about to talk about, the opinions expressed on this podcast are not the opinions of the sponsor, necessarily. So put that disclaimer out there. So this whole shooting in Florida and gun situation, we had to bring it up.
Oh.
Exasperated sigh.
I mean, it's getting,
One more time.
like, I don't even know what to say about this shit, man. Like, what's going on with these fucking kids? Like, there was another daughter that was just turned in by her father. She bought a shotgun.
Okay.
She had detailed plans on shooting up her school. Another kid just got turned in by his grandmother. Like, what is going on?
Here's the tall tale of everything. Okay, this is just the end all be all. It doesn't go to the weapon. Okay, and everybody's like,
we're not even talking about the weapon right
I
now.
know,
We're talking
I
about
know,
what the
I
hell's
know.
wrong with these kids.
Listen. Okay, it doesn't go to a weapon, whatever they're using, or anything like that. It goes back to all the signs prior to these situations. The kid that just shot up the school in Florida, there were so many signs prior to him doing that. The kid was not allowed. There was a memo put out last year that he was not allowed to come to school with a book bag, ever.
Yeah, because it had bullets in it or something like that. They found out.
He was the only kid. When you have one kid in your
Well, he'd
school,
already been expelled.
right. But I'm saying, when you have one kid in your school that you have to put out a memo about he's not allowed to come to school with a book bag, you need to start assessing your situation. You need to start figuring out what is going on with this kid and where are you to help. As a school, that's where you need to be. You need to end these things before it gets there. So these bully problems, these kids are getting bullied. Okay, you have all these kids that are getting bullied. And nowadays, what do they teach these kids? There's something going on with the bully, so we need to show the love to the bully and help him figure out what his problem is. Okay? When we grew up, I got picked on. I would come home, and about the 4th, 5th time I was crying to my dad that I was getting bullied at school, my dad goes, "You go handle this." And then guess what? I got in a fight, I scrapped it out, and that kid left me alone for life. You know? And I'm not saying that is what needs to happen, but these schools need to figure out a better way of handling these situations with these kids. Okay? Whether it be the kid being bullied or the kid bullying everybody. You know, we need to stop being so hands-off and be more hands-on, more proactive towards situations versus waiting till it becomes a mass shooting and a school shooting. Whether it be a shooting, a bombing, or whatever it may be, we need to figure out the problem with our kids. Our kids, nowadays, you see them oh, they're playing games that are just revolved around killing. Our music these days are revolved around being a badass and being a gangbanger and having all these monies and hoes and everything like that. There's no value anymore. There's no home value. And yes, home lives are terrible and things like that. But I grew up as a kid with a house full of guns. Everywhere you looked, there was guns in my house. Never one time did I ever want to go to school and shoot the place up. I got picked on, but I handled my issues because that's how I was raised. I was raised to handle my issue if I had it with somebody. That's why people hate me so much half the time, is because I'm truthful and I'm not afraid to talk to somebody. If I see somebody has a problem with me, we're going to figure out our problem like real people. But that is the problem, is you had this kid alone was doing all these things. He was putting stuff on social media of him gutting animals. You know, he had...
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I saw him on there talking about how he wanted to be a professional school shooter. Got turned into the FBI with his real name, and somehow the FBI didn't find him.
There was nothing. There was nothing. You know what I mean? So nobody did anything. The school seen all these things coming.
And there was no intervention.
There was no intervention. That's the problem. Is people are so afraid to be hands off anymore and be, you know what?
You mean hands on?
Well, yeah. I'm sorry, hands on.
Right.
But you remember those neighbors that you used to have that were so damn nosy all the time? You don't have that anymore. You don't have neighborly love anymore.
Yeah, but do we really want that? Because
Yes.
No, because that was... I mean,
Yes.
you go back to, like, Soviet Russia, man, and Stalin had those people so turned around, everybody was so afraid that they would be snitching on their neighbors, and then, you know, you go over to say something.
I'm not
but I'm saying that. But that's what it becomes.
But no.
It never stays as this basic thing, though. No matter what change you have, it's going to escalate.
He's talking about having a sense of community. We don't have a sense of community.
Yeah.
Right, but if you have a sense of community that's based around whether or not your kid's going to shoot the place up,
no,
I mean, that's going to lead
no.
to... But that's what it is, though.
No, but you're taking it to a whole different level.
But that's but that's a level it's going to grow to.
No,
it always grows.
It never did.
Because people weren't shooting up schools then.
No, you're not looking. You're not catching it. I'm saying the neighbor that was always around, looking, watching out for you. I remember growing up in my neighborhood that if my mom and dad left and there was something going on in my house, my neighbors came and checked on me to make sure I was all right.
I don't think Mike is talking about, you know, the only reason to watch your neighbors is because of fear of school shootings. He's talking about bringing back that sense of community where everybody wanted the well-being of everybody else.
No, okay, I get that, yeah.
So he wasn't talking, you know, he wasn't taking it to the extreme of the only reason we're doing this. He's talking about bringing back that compassion, bringing back that,
I'm thinking you're sitting there talking like having the FBI on speed dial.
No.
Right.
Like the moral
like
values
that Jones boy is down
yeah.
playing in the ocean again.
Where people actually looked out, where like if your parents weren't around, your neighbors were around, and you can go to your neighbors if you need it. Would you try right now in your neighborhood? If your kid was older, you know, say your kid's born, would you trust your kid to go to any of your neighbors for help?
Yeah, I would. I know my neighbors though.
But not a lot of places are like that. You know what I mean? For prime example, when Chelsea lived in her apartment, her neighbor was a cop. Okay, next door neighbor was a cop. Prime example is I would talk to him every time I seen him. What's up, man? What's up? Chelsea says, why do you keep talking to him? It's like your neighbor. Well, why? You don't need to talk to him. That's the problem right there. You know what I mean? You don't know who's living right next door to you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So whether your neighbor is a cop or anything else, it's always good to have that sense of community, you know, where you can lean on your neighbors if you need help. You know, people used to have block parties and all that kind of other stuff, but you don't have that anymore. And that's where we go away from things. So stuff like that can stop other things. You know, when people actually care about one another and want to be there for one another and stop arguing about shit all the time and who's right and who's wrong, everybody's right and wrong. Everybody. No matter what your opinion is you're right and they're wrong. No matter what it is.
Right.
Even if you have solid facts, you know.
Well, I like the Neil deGrasse Tyson put that perfectly. If an argument lasts longer than 5 minutes, both parties are wrong.
Yeah. I
like that way of looking at it.
But if you can't look at somebody else's values and ideas as a human and as a person that's not going to argue, I will debate anybody. Come sit in front of me and sit next to me. We will debate gun laws and all kinds of stuff. If that's what they want to do, civil rights and all kinds, I will debate all kinds of stuff with people, but I will never get mad at somebody for the way they believe or what they think. And that's the problem with the world these days is so many people are either A, afraid to offend somebody, or B, just blatantly pricks to one another. That's why we have so many problems.
It is easier to be hands off. It
It
really
is.
is.
Well,
It's
it is.
easier
It
to
is
make
too,
it
and-
not my problem.
And
Well-
everybody thinks too. Everybody thinks that they have all the answers. They know everything that's going on. Their opinion's the only one that's correct. When in reality, it doesn't matter what side you're on. You're all wrong. Like Mike was saying, you're all wrong. Nobody has everything, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's not fully right or fully left or fully this or
Right,
fully that.
right.
It's always somewhere in the middle, and nobody wants to do
it-
that because the more people argue, it pushes people further. People will start somewhere in the middle, like, well, maybe this, maybe that, but then the more they get attacked by this side, they'll start pushing themselves out until they're fully onto one side or the other, and then now it's like an all or nothing.
Right.
Now it's like if I'm right wing and then you're right wing and this left winger attacks us, now we're together attacking that person, even if I don't even agree with what you're saying.
Right.
But I can't say that out in public because now we're on a team. It's
Right.
fucking ridiculous.
And that's the problem.
And nothing gets done.
And we are so
Excuse me.
we are so divided nowadays that we don't care. You know what I mean? You
Right.
remember when these I remember the Twin Towers is the best example of this. The Twin Towers. When the Twin Towers went down, okay, our country was one country. You weren't black, you weren't white, you weren't Mexican, you weren't gay, you weren't anything. You were a goddamn American that day. You know what I mean? Everybody was an American. Man, how many people went and joined the military? Like we're gonna go handle this. We're gonna go handle this. Everybody was American. So, in such a tragic moment, brought everybody together. But if you look now, in such tragic moments, it doesn't do that anymore. And I'm not saying that that's right that these
Right.
things
No,
happen.
I mean, it's literally 5 minutes after it happens, everybody's at each other's throats.
Everybody's at each other's throats. We don't even give it a time to mourn. We don't worry about these people. We don't worry about the families. You know what was great? When we had all those storms this year and these hurricanes and people were going to help.
Right.
Toledo sent a crew of firemen to go down there and search and rescue. You know what I mean? We're coming to help. That is great. That is what our world needs. Not this dividing and arguing of, oh, we need more stricter gun laws and we need this and we need that and blah, 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 blah. You know what? What we need is to be one unit and figure out the problem and handle it. And it starts with the mental health of people. It starts with being more hands-on. When you see something happening, that's when it starts. Before it escalates to, gun, to a mass shooting or whatever. I agree that, we do maybe need a little bit stricter on our gun sales. You know what?
But how can we do that, though?
It's difficult.
I mean, with everything already in place. I mean, that's the problem.
But
That's the problem I see with a lot of the liberal argument is they all say, well, we need all this stuff that's in play. We need background checks and people that have a violent. I know, but this is what they're all saying, though. Everyone I see on there says we need background checks. People with a violent history shouldn't be able to have guns. Why are felons allowed to buy guns? And you're sitting there going, they're not.
They're not.
That's all already laws.
You go through, okay, so...
I mean, we both are gun owners. We know
Right.
what you have to go through. And,
Right.
and that's the problem.
But
There's two schools of thought on this, and it's one side is gun owners and people that know about guns and people that want guns. And the other side is people that don't have a clue about even how to fire a gun, let alone the laws concerning them. And it's...
Well, and the thing about it is, okay, I saw a thing today. Somebody was like, I could have went and bought a gun. It could have took me 30 minutes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It could have took you 30 minutes to buy the gun. But you're walking into a gun store with no record. You're not acting weird. Because one of the checks is just the guy selling you the gun itself.
Yeah, he can refuse to sell you a gun for whatever
any
reason he wants
reason.
to. Yeah.
If he didn't like your hat, he can refuse to sell the gun to you. So you go through all those. So here's the problem I had with this scenario is the guy went in with no record, just an ordinary dude. He's like, oh, and there's no wait period. A wait period isn't going to change anything. Whether you buy the gun today and have to wait 10 days, guess what that 10 days does for somebody that's going to do something? Gives them 10 days more to plan.
Right.
You know what I mean? 10 days more to perfect their plan. Okay? So that's not going to change anything. Whether you guys sit there and wait for something to come in or anything like that, or more extensive background, you know. So that's not going to change anything. And this guy was like, oh, and this gun store was like 15 minutes away from a school. Okay. Well, where are schools at nowadays?
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. Okay. So in these kinds of situations, you know, you have these Alice trainings and these lockdowns and things like that. You know, police departments. I know in my department, our police department just did a thing. Obviously, no students were in the school or anything like that.
Right.
But they did an active shooter situation where they were shooting off blanks. They were shooting blanks to get the teachers to understand and hear
Right.
that sound and know what's going on. So the police department,
Yeah, especially in an enclosed area, man.
Yeah.
Guns are gonna be loud as hell. They're
Poli-
disorienting.
yeah.
Like,
yeah. So our police department, our fire department, we're all banding together to prepare and train for. Granted, we're a little city, but it could happen.
right.
You know, it could happen anytime. Columbine itself was what, in the 90s?
Yeah, 99. Am I wrong on that? You want to look up when Columbine was?
Guess what was?
Yeah, look up too if it was under Clinton, because I'm kind of curious if it was
Because-
under the.
And it was under the ban.
Was it under the ban
It was
already?
under the ban.
Because they didn't have AR-15s and stuff. They had
Nope.
like fully automatic Mac 10s
It was
and like
under the ban.
Tech 9s and stuff like
It was
that.
under the ban. The ban didn't end until 2000s.
Yeah, it didn't end until Bush. I know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, 99.
Yep.
April 20th of 99.
So that has still been under Clinton
it was under the gun ban.
and under the gun ban. See, so
So
what
you at
difference
that
is-
at that time.
And how many people were killed in that one?
12 students, 1 teacher. They injured 21 additional people, and then 3 more were injured in attempting to escape the school.
And if you don't like, how many, like, what guns did they use?
Give me a second. I'll look that up.
Yeah.
If it's on here.
I know I've seen it because I know they had
Here.
shotguns.
Here. There's a list of weapons right there.
So yeah, Tech 9, a High Point 99.5 carbine, a Savage pump action shotgun, and then a Stevens double barrel sawed off shotgun, 99 explosives, and 4 knives.
I was all under a gun ban.
Yeah.
That,
So
that
what?
Tech 9 was an automatic.
Yeah.
So it's all under a gun ban.
Yeah. Automatics have been
and what-
illegal since 1986.
So
that's,
what a lot of people don't understand is the gun ban wasn't because of an AR or anything like that. What the gun ban was you couldn't have anything more than, I think, 5 rounds. You couldn't have more than a 5
well, you couldn't
round
have the pistol grip either. You
No.
pretty much couldn't have the AR platform.
Yeah,
You couldn't have any of that.
Yeah. So at that time too, you couldn't have anything. So between Columbine and all the other things, because I think I read something, I'm not 100% sure, I'll have to find it again, but there was more shooting, more killings prior to the gun ban than there was during the gun ban, or after the gun ban was removed.
So while the gun ban was going on, there was more shootings.
There was more shootings. That's
we'll
not
have to actually
including-
look up information
Yeah.
on that. Maybe they just weren't reported. You know what I mean? Because
Right,
they're
right.
getting blown up like crazy right
well,
now.
like the 18 shootings that supposedly have happened so far this year.
Well, yeah, too. One of them was a kid shooting a school bus or whatever with a BB gun. Some kid
Yeah.
that wasn't even in school yet.
But the problem is again, it's not back to the weapon that is used, because yes, an AR holds a 30-round mag and all that. But what a lot of these people don't understand is an AR round itself is little.
It's tiny. It's a tiny little round.
Yeah, it's not much bigger than a 22.
Literally millimeters.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a varmint round.
it's actually fractions of a millimeter.
Yeah, it's a
bigger.
varmint round.
And I
It
mean,
just-
can't you
yeah.
get that same kind of capacity? You can get that same kind of capacity for a hunting rifle.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
a lot of the
The AR-15, that's all it is a hunting rifle.
That
and,
looks
and there's,
scary.
Right.
And
It's just
that's
it's based on like the M16 model. It was actually based on before. They actually took the AR-15 and adapted it into the M16 to make it a military rifle because of the way the magazine is. Now yes, the magazine's more effective than a lot of other ones, and it is a very efficient gun. But it doesn't change anything that if a person's determined, they're going to use
Yeah,
they're going to use anything
they're
they
gonna
can.
use it.
So here's what I want to talk about. I mean, we agree on this, and a lot of people already know this, and we're not going to change any minds on anybody
Right.
watching this. So we agree that gun control is not going to make a bit of difference. Like, further gun control. Like, I mean, other than... instead of making new laws, we need to better enforce the laws we already have. With things like the FBI, because the fact the FBI did not get this kid right off the rip is completely inexcusable.
right,
So we also know, and this is my opinion, that doing nothing is not going to change anything.
right.
So, because in my opinion, whether or not they use a gun or they use a rock or whatever, there's something wrong with these kids today. like not saying every kid out there, but these kids that are doing this, and so doing nothing's not gonna change anything, and banning guns isn't gonna change anything. So let's what can we do then besides forcing the FBI to actually do their job?
And like I said, that's up to us people. Okay, think about who's doing these shootings. They're children. A child's frontal lobe hasn't even fully developed yet.
Not till they're 25.
Yeah, they're a teenager. So they're
25. That's when it actually develops. 25.
Exactly.
Like fully developed. Yeah.
Fully
Yeah,
developed,
fully
yeah.
developed. Their frontal lobe. So your choice of rational decision making is not completely there. So you make impulse choices,
Yeah.
So these kids, so you do have a lot of, like teenagers, like especially like teenage girls that try to commit suicide because Susie didn't like Becky's shoes, So these girls get upset and want to kill themselves. Same with the boys. The boys get picked on because they're not the biggest, buffest dude in football, and they get all depressed. It's these impulse decisions. So it's up to us people to be better there, for these kids more, to make these choices more. So, for example, Chelsea brought this up to me the other day. Blake, Blake,
Yeah.
they had a serious conversation at the dinner at our dinner table. It was right after Christmas. When Blake realized you two don't celebrate Christmas, and then he was like, they don't believe in God, and Chelsea's like, not a Christian God, they believe in gods.
Yeah.
He's like, well, what about Mike? And she's like, Mike believes the same thing as them, but he doesn't push it. I'm not gonna.
Not out here trying to convert people.
No, it's not. I still do Christmas for grace.
Right, if that's what she wants. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, so he literally, and this is where I'm going with this, is Chelsea sat there and informed him, took the time to talk to him. He
Right.
had these questions and wanted to know so much, and she sat there and explained to him what it is that we believe, what they believe, all these things. So, my point is people need to be more willing to sit down with kids and take the time and talk to them, and take that time to make them understand. And when they see that these kids are having issues, don't be so hands off. Sit down and talk to the kid. We've already gone through the shit. We have knowledge. We have wisdom. You know what I mean? So talking to them and making them understand things is better for them. I don't know how many times I've tried to get involved with schools, and I've put it off for a while, until like I'm done with my schooling and things like that, and then I'll be more proactive with it. But I've even talked to Southview and things like that about coming to their school and talking about drug abuse and things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To go there and talk to these students, as somebody that went there, as somebody, I'm, not much older than them. Yeah, I'm 28, but still, people aren't willing to take that time anymore.
Well, do people even have that time anymore?
There's always time.
I think,
Not
especially
necessarily.
Yeah.
especially in a school setting, as a teacher, when you become a teacher, because I know this happened to me when I was in junior high. I believe that when you become a teacher, when you decide that you want to work with children, especially, in junior high school where hormones and emotions are surging because you're going through all of these issues, it's really up to the people that you're surrounded by to notice the signs, notice the symptoms, and it's your job, along with the parents' job, along with the family's job, to take the time to really sit down and possibly try to help these kids. I had some amazing teachers at my junior high school who helped me through a lot. Same thing in high school. And that, I'm not saying it's a teacher's job to raise a kid because it's a family's job, but at the same time, if a teacher notices something, or teachers or people in the school in general notice something, it's their duty, that's what they signed up for, to bring it to the attention of somebody who has the ability to sit down and talk with these kids.
As a teacher, you spend how much time with these kids? You know what I mean? They spend how much time a day for how long throughout the year with these kids? So granted, they get on a personal level with these kids. You know what, you get to see them day in and day out. So I know so many teachers have so much impact on children, on kids alone. I had a teacher that impacted me, you know. We were taught in my auto body class by our teacher how to balance a checkbook, you know.
Yeah, I was never taught that.
That'd
Yeah.
be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that's an auto body, so that's just the teacher being cool. in
Yeah,
that
but
regard.
that's what we did on Fridays.
But that's a teacher taking extra time.
To take
Right.
to,
You know?
to teach us life. You
But
know what I mean?
most teachers aren't like that though.
But and that's,
I don't recall. There was one teacher I had over the entire time that I've ever been in school that I feel like would have been like that. One
But-
out of the hundreds of teachers that I had.
But I'm saying you don't. That's where people need to get. You know, people need to come back to their values. You don't get into these things because you're like, oh, excuse me. I didn't get into my job because I was like, oh, I want to be a fucking hero. It's because I love people and I want to help people and I want to be there for them at their worst. So as a teacher, you decide you want to educate and develop somebody into something great. Every teacher wants that success story to see their students become a success. Every teacher does. And that's where it needs to come back to is they want to see these kids succeed and survive through life,
Right.
you know? So when you see somebody with an issue, that's where things, I understand, you know, marrying a teacher, I understand there's a lot of chains and hoops they've got to jump through and stuff like that.
We got 2 minutes on this segment.
But so I understand that, but also there's so many other things that can be done just emotionally, you know, just the emotional support of letting these students know that there's somebody there that cares, you know. And that's really what it is people need to stop thinking with their emotions and use their heart, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Stop.
no, I get that.
Stop.
But I think that's. I mean, it's gonna be a lot easier said than done, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
People just
You know
need
what-
to take the time. Like that's the biggest thing.
But is that gonna happen though?
Man,
that's the problem.
We just
We-
need to go back to the hippie days and peace
Well,
and
yeah,
love,
but
man.
the thing is, like, we can sit here and say this all day, but is that honestly gonna happen?
No.
No, it's not. It's not gonna happen.
Not with this
So
world.
nothing's gonna get any better. So it really doesn't help anybody in the end.
All it is venting, man.
I
You
know.
know?
I know.
And that's what it is just you know what, there is the possibility, though, even every great speaker and every great person, it started with a little bit and became something big. Who knows, you know? It could be one of us that changes the world. It could be somebody else.
Yeah, but I doubt we're the first people to come up with this, though.
Right,
You know?
but you never know, man. And that's what it is you got to keep pushing. You
Right.
can't have that attitude like it's never going to change. No, you got to keep pushing to make it change.
Right. Well, let's go into the next one
Why do you like stare at her?
because she's giving me a cue to let me know when to hit record on the audio.
Really?
She's supposed to be giving me a cue. That thing has a little bit of a delay on the record, so it helps with matching up the audio and video later when she gives me a cue.
Okay, we're live.
Okay. We never did that to begin with.
I know. And we're live.
Yeah.
Like halfway through.
So what was that chick in that video you were just watching saying?
I don't know, dude. I'm so sick of it all. She was just like, I'm going to ask President Trump how much he receives from the national.
Well,
Then she
Everybody
said, like, the
claims-
gun was automatic, and people, you know, were like, yeah, you should make it an automatic weapon, but, like, shut up.
See, so
because
this is
you-
my
that-
this is my big problem with all this. All right, is you got all these people out there that want to blame the gun, and you know if you want gun control, I'm not going to sit here and say that we don't need more gun control or that we need less gun control. I'm not going to say any of that. But what I am going to say is I know a lot about guns, and there's yet to see a single person that is for gun control that I've actually seen that knows anything about guns. They don't know anything about them. And, you know, if you want gun control, that's fine. You know, fight for your gun control. If that's what you honestly think will fix it, that's fine. But Jesus fucking Christ, do a Google search. Know what you're talking about. Like, so many times I see these people say things like, you know, like, we need to get fully automatic guns. Like, you're just selling them out of Cabela's for $2. Like, no, fully automatic guns have been illegal since 1986. You don't know what you're talking about. And, you know, like I said, I'm not knocking the gun control argument because that's a conversation for a different day. If that's what you think will fix it, that is fine. But learn what the hell you're talking about. You know, like, I just don't understand, like, where these people come off with these egos and they know all the problems. You're looking at me like I'm a fucking idiot.
No, I'm just,
Like,
I'm so drained from it. I don't even.
yeah, like, it's how do you convince these people? Like,
I don't even
Don't.
try. Don't even try.
But it's
Unfortunately-
so many people.
Unfortunately, at this point, it's
Like
doesn't matter what
like
facts
they had,
you
that lady had
present.
hundreds of people cheering for her in that video, talking about like how
Because-
we're gonna get fully automatic weapons banned. Like,
because nobody looks
well,
at the facts.
gr-
You can
great, you
present
already
all the
did it then.
facts.
You've already accomplished your goal. What, 30 years too late? Like,
Because people are hyping off the emotion. You know what I mean?
that's all it is. It's all argument based on emotion. But
yeah.
none of these people are gonna go out and actually get educated on it. And please don't take this as like I'm trying to say like, you know, like gun control is bad or whatever, because obviously it's not. We do need some level of gun control, but we have it. We have plenty of gun control. We just need to implement the gun control that we have, because obviously we're not.
Right.
And then people blaming Trump, you know, I don't like Trump, but people blaming him for this, like what? There was like 160 something mass murders under Obama,
Right.
but the one that happened under Trump, you know, all of a sudden they're all his fault.
But and that's the thing is like people want to be like, oh, what did any of these gun sellers or blah blah blah? What did you do? Is the thing?
No, yeah, none of these people. Nobody does anything. You're gonna bitch and moan on social media about it. That's all you're gonna do.
What did you do? What did you do for this kid? What did you do? Is how I answer everything. What did you do? Is literally anytime somebody brings up and tries to debate it with me, I'm like, what did you do?
I
Because
wanna
that's
know-
a simple question. When you have something like this happen, prior to that, what did you do to make it change it? Did you do anything? Was the kid showing these signs? Did you try to talk to him or stop him? Prior to this, did you try to see what was wrong with him? No.
I want to know why there haven't been any long-term effects on antidepressants and things, like long-term studies on the effects of these drugs. You know, we're shoving these drugs like 30 to 40 years ago. People that were on these, like kids that would be put on these, were put on them in extreme circumstances, and they're for people that actually need them. And these drugs, like, I mean, they help out a lot of people. You know, obviously they help out a ton of people. They got to take them, but we're also handing them out like candy to people that don't need them. Like, you can walk into a doctor's office right now and say you're nervous about a test, and you'll be given a prescription for Xanax, no questions asked, no tests, and kicked right out the door. You know, what the fuck is that about?
Xanax is a different.
It doesn't matter. It's still a psychotropic. It's still something that affects your behavior.
It's not a psychotropic.
It's still something that affects your behavior.
It's
It's still a chemical going into your brain affecting the way you act with zero test on whether or not you need it.
yeah.
And when you're giving something like that to a 12-year-old, to a person whose mind is not developed, or you don't know what effects those chemicals are having on the development of that mind. So by
Right,
the time they
but-
reach adulthood,
but again,
you don't know the way their emotions are acting, what's been affected by it.
I'm just trying to stop you because you were like, do your research, and I'm trying to make it not sound dumb because Xanax isn't an antidepressant, but
I didn't say it was. It's an anti-anxiety.
yeah. But the thing about it is like that's up to the doctors. But at the same time, antidepressants when you're trying to use them, the first one you're given isn't gonna usually be the one that works for you. It could be, but you have to. There's so many because you have to find that one that works because you're already on a chemical imbalance in your head. Your receptors and everything like that are just completely off.
Okay,
They're
you're
not right.
talking about a person that actually needs them, though. I'm talking about all these other people that are getting them that don't need them.
You don't know that though. You don't.
But nobody does. That's the problem.
Until
There
you,
has not been any long-term studies on the effects of these.
but
None,
again,
zero.
But again, it goes back to if they're being put on the antidepressant, it's about switching these up and finding the right one. So a lot of times, what people do is they'll take one, it doesn't work. Well, I'm done taking these because antidepressants don't work right away.
No, you're missing my point
I think
entirely.
what he's trying to say is somebody like me, I have no, I don't need an antidepressant. I don't need an anti-anxiety. I don't need any of this. I could go into my doctor and I could tell him that I've been feeling blue. I've been feeling down because this has happened to me, as a teenager. I was, I've been feeling sad. And they try to put you on, and we've
It's
become,
the first thing they do.
we've kind of become a society of pill pushers. That's what kind of the
Right.
doctors have become. I think that's what Ben's trying to say. Isn't so much, who needs them, who doesn't need them, but we put everybody on them regardless of whether they need them or not. And then we don't look at the long-term effects, especially on young developing minds.
But they're
Right. No, but like the thing is,
That's-
I can walk into a doctor's office right now, and this has happened to me as a teenager, especially being as overweight. I've been overweight my whole life. So I walk in there. I'm depressed because I'm overweight. All right. I feel like shit because I'm
No,
overweight.
you're sad because you're overweight, not
Yeah.
depressed.
Well, no, I am depressed because I'm overweight, or when I was a teenager, or whatever. There's not a doctor in this country, not a single one that I'm aware of, that will tell me to go exercise and eat right. Because if you do that, guess what? You're not going to be depressed anymore. Because exercise makes you feel good. The way the chemicals work in your brain, you feel better. Eating right makes you feel better.
but-
the first thing they're going to do is shove pills down your throat.
No, that's
Yes, they will. I've
no.
been to the doctors over this, and I've refused pills because of it.
because you've walked in with the trigger words. Okay, when you walk in with these trigger words,
There shouldn't be trigger words to a doctor. There should be tests and conclusive evidence.
how is somebody? You tell me how somebody like me is gonna know what's going on with you unless you tell me in great detail. I
Because
don't
there's
know.
tests. There's tests. I don't know if there's tests to tell if you have depression or not.
There is no.
Then medication we should not be giving out if we cannot conclusively test for it, especially when every single mass shooter has been on them. There's ladies that drown their kids, all right, and it's find out, guess what? They're on antidepressants.
Because
there's women that give birth and dump their babies in the dumpster,
because
and guess what?
more
They're
to
on
go with it.
antidepressants.
There's more to go with it. Kids these days, and that's what you got to look at is kids these days. Is again, you go back to mommy and daddy don't give me my iPod that I want or my new iPhone. Yeah, they get all upset and they get all worked up and blah blah blah. But that goes back to home life.
I also
at that
think
point.
it has a big thing to do with just because we are such a instant gratification society.
Yeah.
We spend so much time behind a screen that it desensitizes us to the fact that other people are people.
Right.
So you have a lot of these kids who can't really distinguish between a computer screen and a real life person.
Right.
Because everything we see is Facebook, Instagram, it's just
we have communication like never before right now. I mean, you
but
can
not
go on,
face-to-face human interaction.
I know,
Yeah.
but I can go on the internet and broadcast my opinion. What are we doing right now? We're broadcasting our opinion to the world for no other reason than we fucking want to.
Right.
Right.
But you're not
You
talking
know?
to other people.
Right.
You are talking to somebody you've known your
But you
entire life.
couldn't do that before though, So if
Right.
you came
Right.
across somebody with a
You-
differing opinion, you were like, "Oh, there's somebody with a differing opinion. Let's have a conversation."
But I
Right.
think a lot of it has to do with the fact that
I think it's a self-importance complex.
These kids
Everybody
just-
thinks that everybody needs to listen to what they have to say.
there isn't a lot of value on human life anymore
No.
because you're not getting that
No, there's
social
not.
interaction.
It's not
No.
real social interaction. No, I think you're
Yeah.
absolutely right about that.
Like look at dating nowadays.
It's all on Tinder
It's
and shit.
it's an app dating world. Swipe
Yeah.
left, swipe right, whatever kids do nowadays, and
Yeah, you don't go out and talk and meet or anything like that
yeah,
anymore.
it's the
You
hookup
don't-
generation.
Yeah, so that's it. Like again, it all stems around community based. You know what I mean? You don't have that anymore, where you're riding your bike over to your friend's house to go hang out. And I understand times change and times blah blah blah, but there's one thing that doesn't need to change, and that is being there for one another, versus being just excluding yourself from everything. So, and that's where it is. Again, it goes back to these kids are young and they need development. They're developing and things like that. They need the attention.
Yeah.
They need that. So when they're not getting that, then they revert to these more extreme measures and things like that. So when it comes to, coming to a doctor and a parent is bringing the child in, things like that, doctor can only do what a doctor can do, So you can't blame the doctor. Yes, there are those doctors that are pill pushers and things like that most of them get weeded out pretty quick, But I have met plenty of doctors that are like, I don't care that your leg is broken in half. You're not getting narcotics,
Well,
And
So that also comes down to the responsibility of the parent to make sure that their kid's getting
but see,
adequate.
then we
Right.
get into that dilemma of like when you're talking about, like whether or not a dad is to turn in his daughter because she's writing all about how she's going to shoot up the school
fucking
like
turn
that.
her in.
I know, but then what comes down to the situation of like, well, does she actually need antidepressants or doesn't she? Let's say she's not obviously writing stuff like that down and buying guns, but she seems like she's a little whacked out there. At what point does a parent who has no medical experience whatsoever decide to take him in? Because he knows when he takes him in, she's going to end up on antidepressants.
Well, that's what a consult is. You don't have to take them. You don't have to agree to it. You're going to the doctor because you're like, okay, I'm going to.
But what if they really need it, though? And they're going to fly off if they don't? What are you supposed to do?
At that point, then what?
You make a judgment call based on how you feel as a parent,
Yeah.
I guess.
That's not a very good thing to go on, though. Especially when something like shooting up a school is clearly at stake here with the way the minds of our children are going.
But what other choice do you have? You let them keep going on with what they are, or do you trial and error? I mean, I'm not saying like a mass shooting, but You only have so many options.
Well, right.
You know?
I'm saying none of them look good. You don't know which one's the right one.
Right. So
But I'm saying messing up just a little bit could have detrimental effects.
So like with this girl, then obviously he's taking her in. She's gonna go on something. She's gonna be put on some sort of medication.
Unless she already was. That was the thing. That's what I'm trying to tell you. She already was. The girl that dad just caught was
Right.
already on antidepressants.
So they're gonna adjust it. That's what it is. Is again, it goes back to just because the one you're taking doesn't mean it's the right one.
yeah,
so
but that's
then-
a pretty fucking huge error when she buys a shotgun and wants to shoot up her school because a doctor was like, I don't know what I'm going to put you on.
I mean, that is an
That's a-
extreme case too, though.
But it's
Yeah.
happening all the time.
Right.
It's
Right,
not
yeah.
extreme if it happens constantly.
But again, that goes back to the parents following up, and that's what you're supposed to have these follow-ups, and that goes to these people that aren't having follow-ups and doing things that they should be doing. Just because you're on a medication doesn't mean it's a fix-all. You still have
well,
other
I know,
things that you
I know,
need to
but that's
do.
what I'm saying. All I'm saying is we need to know more about these medications, and we need to have doctors seriously watch who they're prescribing them to.
The doctors can only do so much. You can only.
But this
do,
wasn't an issue 30 years ago when doctors didn't prescribe them to everybody.
and because we didn't have those kind of medications 30 years ago. We didn't have the
But
advancements.
we also didn't have these issues. So maybe they're making up diseases that don't actually exist.
that I haven't found anything
Or mental conditions, not diseases, excuse me, but mental conditions.
That's not my scope of.
I don't know. I don't know.
expertise.
That's saying I don't know either.
But-
I'm not saying I'm an expert on this. These are just the consistent things that I keep seeing in this. Besides, guns, because obviously this is affecting
But-
more.
but
When
do
you
we-
go beyond guns, you
but
see them
but
show up in
again-
there too.
But again, at the same time, can you actually believe that she was on these?
Do I believe she was on them? I'm just going based on what the news said.
Right. Again,
They
that
could be
goes-
full of shit. I'm
Yeah,
not saying they're not.
right.
They absolutely could be.
because somebody's medical records is not public information, so that does not mean the news can get that information.
Well, yeah, but if the dad says it to the news, they can still publish it. They can publish whatever the hell the dad says to them.
Right. That's if the dad said it. You know what I mean?
Right.
They can make it up, anything like that.
You're right. They could. They can make whatever they want of 'em.
But it just goes off to these things as in that situation you don't have the hard evidence. You can't believe everything you see on the news anymore. So
Well, all I'm saying is we need to look into this stuff more because I don't know. I'm not a medical professional, but this is just the same tick I keep seeing in all these things. So that's what I want to know more information about it. Could
Right.
that be a feasible option? Something we need to look into that could help this situation?
and
Because it's not just one thing, like we
Yeah.
discussed earlier. It's multiple things.
and it
But
is
could that be one of the puzzle pieces?
and it is. It could be. And again, like I said, man.
All right, we gotta wrap this up. It looks like you're getting pretty tired anyway.
Yeah,
we got 2 minutes
I'm
on
beat.
this. So we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you for listening to our ramblings. We got Board Cooks T-shirts that are gonna be coming, so keep an eye out for those. We got paintball headbands, Board Cooks paintball headbands made by Dirty PB that are gonna be coming. Those are getting made right now. So thank you for tuning into this, and till next time, keep it dirty.